The moment I walked through the front door with my diploma in hand, I knew something was terribly wrong. My entire family was waiting in the living room like they'd planned an intervention. My mom stood in the center with a sealed envelope. My dad sat on the couch with this stone-cold expression. My two sisters flanked them like backup dancers in a performance I hadn't auditioned for. I'm Jessica Bennett. I'm 26 years old, and I'm about to tell you how my family tried to financially destroy me the moment I became independent. If you've ever felt betrayed by the people who raised you, this is your story. Mom didn't waste time with pleasantries. She opened the envelope like she was revealing lottery numbers. "Jessica," she said, "we've made some decisions as a family." Her tone was final, cold, like I was a business transaction being closed. The first document was a bill, itemized. Every dollar they'd spent on me from birth to 18 laid out in excruciating detail. Braces, summer camps, school supplies, medical bills, years of accumulation converted into numbers, and they wanted repayment. $47,000 with interest. I stared at the paper like it might spontaneously combust. "Are you serious right now?" I asked, my voice barely steady. My dad finally spoke. "You're an adult now, Jessica. It's time you understood that nothing in life is free, not even a childhood." But there was more. The second document was a housing agreement. They were charging me rent. Immediately. $1,500 a month to sleep in the bedroom I'd grown up in. The room where I'd studied until 2 a.m. for exams that got me into college. The room where I'd cried through my teenage years. Now it had a price tag. And the third document, that was the cruelest part. They were claiming ownership of my graduation gift money. My grandparents had given me $15,000 to help me start my adult life. My parents were taking half of it as compensation for housing and food. They said I still owed them from childhood. I felt my knees weaken. "What about college?" I asked. "That was your investment. I got scholarships. I worked part-time jobs. I took out my own loans." My mother's face hardened. "We still had expenses, Jessica. Don't be ungrateful." Ungrateful. That word followed me like a curse my entire life. Every time I excelled, I was ungrateful for their sacrifice. Every time I had my own opinion, I was ungrateful for their guidance. Every time I wanted independence, I was ungrateful for their shelter. This time, something snapped inside me. I told them I needed time to process. They seemed satisfied, like they'd already won whatever game they were playing. I went to my room, shut the door, and started recording everything on my phone. Every payment I'd made, every financial decision, every piece of evidence that proved I was not the dependent child they were treating me as. Then I did something they never expected. I called my best friend Marcus. We'd known each other since kindergarten. His dad was a financial advisor. I asked if I could stay with him while I figured things out. Without hesitation, he said yes. "Pack your stuff. You're leaving tonight." I didn't pack a suitcase. I packed my entire future. Every document I'd ever needed. Tax returns, bank statements, proof of my scholarship, my employment contract that had started last month at a tech company, proof that I was making $65,000 annually, proof that I didn't need them anymore. I left a note on the kitchen counter. Simple, professional, like I was checking out of a hotel. "I've moved out. Send me a formal lease agreement if you want me to pay rent. Send me the college debt with interest calculations if you want me to repay it. I will respond through my lawyer. Do not contact me directly until you're prepared to have an adult conversation about boundaries and respect." I signed it, then I left. Marcus's spare room became my sanctuary, a place where nobody guilted me for existing, a place where I wasn't required to perform gratitude. For the first time in my life, I could breathe without explaining myself. 2 days later, my mom called. Her voice was shaking. "Jessica, where are you? You can't just leave like this. We're your family. We need to talk about this." I kept my voice steady. "I will talk to you through my lawyer," I said. Then I hung up. She called back 7 times that day. My dad texted, "Come home. We can work this out." But I knew what working it out meant. It meant me apologizing. It meant me accepting their terms. It meant me surrendering my independence so they could maintain their control. I found a lawyer named Patricia Chen. Ruthless, intelligent, furious when I showed her the documents my parents had prepared. Patricia looked at me with this expression of pure determination. "Jessica," she said, "these are predatory. This is emotional manipulation wrapped in legal language. We're going to stop this." Over the next week, Patricia sent my parents a cease and desist letter. It outlined every violation they'd attempted. It explained that I was not a debtor. It clarified that gifts could not be reclaimed. It made abundantly clear that any further attempts at financial coercion would result in legal action. My parents didn't respond for 3 days. Then my dad showed up at Marcus's house unannounced. I opened the door to find him standing there looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. Not physically smaller, but diminished, like the reality of consequences had finally caught up to him. "Jessica, we need to talk," he said quietly. "Not through a lawyer, just us." I let him in. I didn't offer him coffee. I didn't make him comfortable. I sat across from him and I waited. He started with apologies. "I'm sorry we made you feel like a burden. I'm sorry we didn't celebrate your accomplishments properly. I'm sorry we charged you rent." But none of those apologies addressed the real issue, so I stopped him. "Why did you do it?" I asked. "Why did you prepare documents to make me feel like I owed you my entire existence?" My dad was quiet for a long time. Then he finally answered. "Because you were leaving," he said, his voice breaking. "You were becoming independent. You didn't need us anymore, and I couldn't handle that." That was the first moment I felt something shift. Not forgiveness, not yet, but understanding. My parents had been so terrified of losing control that they'd tried to weaponize my love for them. They'd confused ownership with parenting. I told him that was his problem to solve, not mine. Over the next few months, I did something they never anticipated. I thrived. My salary increased to $70,000. I got promoted. I saved money aggressively. I started planning to buy my own apartment. I built a life so solid, so independent, so undeniable that their attempts at control became irrelevant. They couldn't hurt me because I didn't need them anymore. My mom reached out around month 4. She'd been in therapy. She wanted to talk about our relationship, but here's what I realized, Jessica. She said it with genuine remorse. "I had been trying to keep you small so I could feel needed. That wasn't love. That was selfishness." For the first time, she was really listening to what she'd done. I didn't immediately forgive them. Forgiveness isn't something you deserve just because you apologize. It's something you earn through changed behavior. But I agreed to family counseling. 1 session a month, structured, professional, safe. It's been 2 years now. My parents have backed away from their controlling behavior. They've apologized. They've paid me back for the graduation money they tried to claim. They've admitted that their actions were wrong. But most importantly, they've changed how they treat me. I'm not their trophy. I'm not their investment. I'm not their retirement plan. I'm their daughter, and that only means something if they respect who I am as a person. Last month, I closed on my apartment. 28 years old. My own place. My own life. My own future. When I called to tell my parents, my mom actually cried. But this time, they were good tears. Proud tears. The tears of someone who finally understood that loving someone means letting them become themselves. My dad sent me a text that day. It simply said, "We're proud of you." And this time I believed him. But here's the thing nobody tells you about revenge against your family. The best revenge isn't destroying them. It's not even making them regret what they did, though that usually happens naturally. The best revenge is becoming so completely, so undeniably yourself that they finally understand what they almost lost. I could have spent years being angry. I could have cut them off permanently. I could have pursued legal action that would have devastated them financially. Instead, I chose something harder. I chose to become independent despite them. I chose to build a life that proved their control had zero power over my destiny. And that broke them more effectively than any court case ever could have. If your family ever tried to control your life through guilt or money, comment 1. If you stood up to them and won, comment 2. If you're still fighting your way to independence, comment 3. If you've reconciled and they've actually changed, comment 4. Because here's the truth that took me 26 years to learn. Your family doesn't own your success. They don't own your future. They don't own anything about who you're becoming. You are the architect of your own life. And the moment you accept that, truly accept it, they lose their power. The greatest revenge isn't revenge at all. It's freedom. And freedom tastes sweeter than any victory ever could. This is Revenge Voice, where we tell the stories nobody else has the courage to voice.